What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Triumphant Life podcast. I am your host, Nicholas Trevillian, and my board says today we are going to tackle the topic of imposter syndrome. I don't know about you. I struggle with imposter syndrome, where you have this fear that's maybe holding you back sometimes, that you're not worthy to share your information, to share your heart, to share your mission, your story with the world. So guys, I sat down and I recorded this where I share 3 ways that I personally use to overcome imposter syndrome, and I hope you enjoy. But I wanted to just unpack, I think, a really kind of a hard topic, and that's imposter syndrome. I don't know if you've ever ran into imposter syndrome, but I run into it myself. A lot of people that I get a chance to talk to do as well. So we help people build businesses and step out of their comfort zone, right? We help people launch online courses, and I help people write books. And you'd be shocked how many people I see that are amazingly gifted at what they do and run into imposter syndrome. If you have ever ran into this, throw me like a thumbs up or a heart there, because I want to just share with you guys in this live real quick 3 things that I found personally as really cool ways to overcome imposter syndrome, because I run into this myself. But check this out. Here's the definition. Here's the definition of imposter syndrome. It's a psychological occurrence in which an individual doubts their skills, talents, or accomplishments and has a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. Wow, check this out. Despite external evidence of their competence, those experiencing this phenomenon do not believe they deserve their success or their luck. Guys, I pride myself on taking on topics that I think that we all struggle with. So it's easy for me to be like, oh, let me just teach you social media or how to do reels or how to do TikToks. But I like to get to the heart and soul, the deep stuff. Is that cool with you? Hence why whenever I record a podcast episode, it's always a topic that I know is going to hit home for you. And if you've ever ran into this, drop me some comments below, like an I'm in or like a heck yeah. Because I run into this too. And it's interesting. I was looking at it myself. So we're here getting ready to record another episode of the podcast. And I've done many of them. I've been on a ton of other people's podcasts. I've spoken on stage. I don't really I've done that. Yet I still have this internalized fear. You know what I'm saying? And so I brought 3 things right now for you that I wanted to just share with you that maybe add some value to your life. The very first thing that I found of overcoming imposter syndrome, and I made it number 1 for a reason, is stop comparing yourself to somebody else that's 10 years ahead of you. Now that's the world that we're in. TikTok and Instagram and these highlight reels of people's lives. You're looking at somebody that's 10 years ahead of the game or 20 years ahead of the game. And you're looking at somebody that, let's say you have a goal to go make $100,000, right? If they're making $1 million a month, $1 million a month, you're going to feel like a POS, right? You're going to feel like you're not worthy or not enough. But I've just found to stop comparing yourself today at somebody that's 10 years ahead. Let me give you an example. One of my best friends is Nate Palmer. He's a personal trainer. He's jacked. Nate's a personal trainer. He lives in and out of gyms. He lives in and out of gym clothes. He lives in and out of nutrition. And so for me, looking at him who has the physique that I want, oftentimes I'll look at him and be like, dude, God, he's amazing. And then I'll go, yeah, but he's also 10 years ahead of you in the fitness space. Do you follow me on that? If you look at somebody's social media following, for example, oftentimes if you get the real story of a lot of this stuff, they've been grinding that for years and years and years. And maybe you just started out your online business. It's hard to compare yourself to somebody else that's 10 years ahead of the game or even a year ahead of you. So I've just found number 1, stop comparing yourself to that person. If you want to eliminate imposter syndrome, just stop looking at their stuff and comparing yourself to them, because you're not going to be them. And you're unique and you're amazing and you're a beautiful soul in your own right. So stay in your own lane. That's the very first thing that I found. And who am I talking to when I say that? Myself. Because I have some friends that are doing $1 million months, okay? And you might be excited to have a 10 grand month, but then they're going to be like, well, I made $1 million month, right? And oftentimes you kind of start beating yourself up for that and feeling like you're not worthy. Can I just tell you right now, you are. Something inspired me to hit live on this and just record this for you here on Facebook before I go and record the actual podcast. You are worthy, and that's A-okay. It's A-okay to be in your own lane and to be where you're at. Now, here's the second thing, which I consider to be the number 1 thing that I do to overcome imposter syndrome. One, I think it's real. I think you run into it. And again, we talk to a lot of online coaches who don't feel that they're worthy. Let me just share with you this. If you've solved the problem for yourself, okay, or you've solved the problem for somebody else, you are worthy and you are no longer an imposter. And I keep coming back to this one. So number 2, check this out. This is huge. Write this down. And if this stands out to you, throw me like a little heart on this one. Get results for yourself or get results for somebody else. Now, let me explain what I mean. No matter what you do, if you're here, and follow me, most people that follow me have small businesses or solopreneurs, course creators, want to write a book, and you have a little business, right? What I found is this: the fastest way to overcome imposter syndrome is to talk about the results that you got personally or the results that you got for somebody else. Because you can't lie about that, right? So let's say, for example, you went and tried keto for yourself. Keto, the weight loss or whatever, high fat. Let's say you tried keto and you lost 30 pounds on keto and have some before and after photos. You can't lie about those photos. You can't lie about the work that you put in. So for example, I can tell you I ran a marathon and I can tell you what it was like running a marathon and how I hated it and how it hurt my feet and hurt my back and what the training was like and how long it took and how hard it was, right? No longer theory, no longer producing fake content, no longer trying to make stuff up. Check this out. Watch this. This is going to get really, really big for you with number 3. They all connect. And so I'm no longer faking that, right? I did 75 hard. So I can tell you what 75 hard was like from somebody that went through 150 workouts in 75 days, right? And you have something in your life that you've done and got in a result with, right? And now back to the business analogy, because a lot of y'all watching this are like, yo, Nikki T, how do I make money with this? If you've gotten results for yourself in that business that you own, right? Or you've gotten results for a client, you're no longer an imposter. So what I found is this: I just kind of live with these stories around me. So I'll just share with you, this is a quick hack that I have. So right here underneath my desk, okay, I live and breathe all of my case studies. Because even as much as you see my content or dude, that guy's got it, I don't. I'm fearful. I still get afraid to hit record. You're not alone. And so I have to hold on to my case studies, okay? So right now, my big focus is helping people write a book and get published and then turn that book into an online course. Well, do you think that I have some imposter syndrome with that when there's big publishing houses? Yes. My number 1 competitor's published 10,000 books, right? I can't look at him 10 years ahead of me. I published 5 books and I'm stoked about that, right? So what I do is this: I always hold my book. So again, number 2, get results for yourself or get results for somebody else. So I always hold this. Whenever I get nervous about am I worthy of teaching? I literally go, yeah, but this book right here landed me 350 clients and 3.5 million. Okay. Get results for yourself. Gotten results for myself. And then I always go to Nate. I go, and Nate has made over 600K with his book. And then I go to Crystal and I say, Crystal tripled her business with her book. And then I go to Eagle, right? And so I always hold these case studies right here. They literally live right on, right underneath my desk, because whenever I get afraid, I default to the second way that I overcome imposter syndrome is I just go to the results that I've done for myself or the results that I've done for somebody else. And if you want to really understand how to grow your business and how to just kind of lean into this imposter syndrome, I don't know if you experience it. I do. It's a big deal. A lot of my students run into this, hence why I'm taking on this topic. And so I found overcoming that with your own results, you're no longer spitting fake content, right? You're no longer even creating content. You're documenting content and documenting things that you've done well, which leads me to number 3, make all your content about the results you got for yourself or the results you got for somebody else. I call it case study content. So I actually put that away. Hold on, let me see if I can grab it. So if you notice, a lot of my marketing is about a story that we did. So here's my case study of how I used a book to land 350 clients and 3.5 million. And so I believe in using your testimonial for yourself, right? And so I found whenever you're creating content, you move from actual the creation of content to actually just documenting a lot of things that you're doing. So for example, if you're going to go, I'll just use keto because it's a great example. Let's say you want to be a fitness coach and you are a fitness coach and you just got, yourself fit on keto. Well, documenting that journey is really, really fun because you're no longer faking stuff. You're actually just super genuine, right? Nobody can argue with the fact of you going, no, I weighed 250, I weigh 220 now. Nobody can argue with that and nobody can take that away from you. Or if you said, hey, I took Susie and I helped Susie lose 50 pounds, nobody can take that story away from you, right? When I say that I helped an author triple her business, yes, she owns that story, but I also was part of that. And so whenever I feel like I'm getting nervous or like, man, are you really worthy of walking on this stage? Or this person wants to interview you. Are you worthy? I'll look at the book of results that I've gotten for myself. I'll look at the results that I've gotten for other clients. And so back to this. Gal had asked a question in a forum I'm in, and she said, well, where do I start? Where do I do my marketing? How do I market? Should I be on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok? What should I do? And I said, none of it yet. Grab a client, work with them for free in your program, get them mad results, document the process, and then in 90 days, turn back to your social media and say, hey, here's what we did to get these results for Susan or for Johnny, and here's how we did it. Because then you're no longer creating content, you're documenting this awesome experience that this person had. And so if you've ever gotten nervous to hit record, or you've ever gotten nervous to go live or launch an online course or launch your business, just think of, why did you start your business to begin with? Odds are you started that business because you've gotten results for yourself in some sort of that area, right? Like so many people that get into the personal training space, they were oftentimes not fit, got confident, and wanted to go about doing that, right? Business coaches like myself. Do you want to know why I'm a business coach? Because I struggled in business myself, and I found some stuff that worked for me, and then people asked me, how did I grow my business? And I would look them square in the face and talk, not in theory, on things that I had done in my life and said, hey, I wrote a book. It doubled my business. It was amazing. It became my first $1 million funnel. You should do the same thing, and I'll show you how I did it. So there's no gap in my confidence with that, because I'm talking about something that I lived and breathed, right? And I want you to think about what makes you unique and like, why do you have your business, right? Whether you're a vlogger, whether you're, whatever you're doing, odds are something drew you to that space because you loved it, right? Like, let's say you flip stuff on eBay. Man, I flipped these, these shoes for $50. Nobody can take that story away from you. So I believe, one, back to just recap the three, and I'll let you go today in this quick little live before I go hit record on an actual podcast, is one, don't compare yourself to somebody that's at a level that's unrealistic, right? Like if you compare yourself to Warren Buffett or Grant Cardone, you're going to go bonkers, guys. And how do I know? Because I feel like a POS sometimes whenever I see their content, I'm like, man, I'm not at 100 million yet. Well, put a goal in place that matters to you. Maybe it's 100K, maybe it's 250K, maybe it's $1 million, right? And focus on that goal and stay in your lane. Two, just share your own story and share somebody else's story. You have to get results for yourself, or you have to get results for somebody else. And like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. The fastest way to grow your business is just walk your talk, right? If Nate, the personal trainer who I use as an example a lot, was out of shape, it would be really hard for him to sell fitness advice, because Nate's in shape. He follows his own meal plan. He studies his craft. He follows his own workout. So all he simply has to do is, hey guys, this worked for me. Do you want to try it? And he's literally he's physical proof, like a dude in a tight t-shirt with big arms. And you could say, man, that's really, really cool. My partner, Terrence Berner with Menace in Business Coaching. He's done $1 million in 1 month. Okay. He netted like a bag of cash, 7 figures in 1 month. Boop. Thank you for the $1 million. Okay. So then he can literally look back and go, hey, this is how I did $1 million in 1 month. Do you want to learn that? Right. We just launched this new course where Terrence taught us how he did 2,400 leads and $1 million of revenue inside of 90 days. 2,400 leads. And he says, hey, here's my video, and here's my funnel, and here's the webinar, and here's how we did it. Here's my follow campaign. So there's no joking there, right? There's no imposter, because he literally can just be like, well, I just did this. And I kind of know what you're going through, right? Like, hey, I've been in the water. The water's a little chilly, right? And I love that. And I want you to think about like, you or the client that you got mad results for. Maybe you're a counselor and saved somebody's life or saved their marriage, or, maybe you got yourself out of depression, or maybe you launched your own course, or maybe you struggled to build a website and you learned how to build it and you have this cool website design. I don't know what that is for you. I'd love to hear about that in the comments. You could DM me and let me get to know you a little bit, but like, hold on to that story. There's beauty in that story. So like for me, the 3 steps to overcome: stop comparing yourself to others. 2, own your story, walk your talk, and own a story for somebody else. And if you don't have that story, find somebody. Lead with your heart and say, hey, let me help you make an impact in your life. Let me just share with you guys a quick story. Man, I love Facebook Lives because these random stories come up. My very first online course ever, I was terrified to do. And we launched it when COVID happened. I knew that the world needed some energy and needed some positive vibes during COVID. I prayed on it, and we decided to do my 30-day challenge. It's what I'm known for. My 30-day challenge is a life-changing course. It changed my life. It helped me lose 60 pounds. So anyway, I was super terrified to launch my message online. Imposter syndrome. Maybe you run into this, okay? And I was like, man, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how the tech works or the funnels work or like the online membership, but I know this, like, I got a huge heart and I've gone through this program. And the program worked for me, and it saved my life for the most part. I was in a huge depression when I went through the program, and I was like, all I know is this: if I invited people there, whether one or 100 came, if I just led with my heart and said, guys, this worked for me, it'll work for you. So all I simply did was I gave them what worked for me with my 30-day challenge, and I was so nervous to sell it. I was terrified to collect my first dollar online, and I made it for $97, and I was like, man, I made $100, whatever. And like, I remember putting the shopping cart out, and a couple people bought it, and we had 15 people buy it. My very first online course, I made $1,500, and we did it in ClickFunnels, and I started recording videos, and it was beautiful. And like, I uploaded videos. Well, anyway, this group of 15 go through it. I was so scared and so nervous, and like, what are people gonna think? Well, then people started to really like it, and I was really nervous to like sell them stuff because I had never sold something online, even though I had made $1 million a year offline, and it was awkward. And then they started to go through the course, and they started to get a ton of momentum and a ton of results. And one of our members went through that program and lost 22 pounds in his first month. And other people went through and said it was like a life-changing 30-day program. And I started thinking, like, what if I'd let my imposter syndrome stop me from reaching them? Does that make sense? Like, I had gotten results for myself, so I knew how it worked. Well, I was nervous about the technology, nervous about the video, nervous to share it. Yes, and you might be there too. But I knew that if I led with my heart and said, guys, this worked for me, I'm just going to document what I did, it helped me overcome that a little bit. Well, then you had 15 people go through my first course. And then I looked back and went, you lost 22 pounds in a month? And he's like, yeah, dude, it's just a life changer. I freaking love you. Da, da, da. And I was like, what? Like, people started flying in to see me so they could meet me because of this course. And they become great friends today. And I'm like, wow, if I let that little imposter syndrome, I'm not worthy, that fear stopped me. But I found that just overcoming it was the one thing that got me through it, was the fact that I had done that program. And odds are, if you're a solopreneur or a course creator, or even writing a book or considering that, if you have a story to tell and you've done something for yourself that really made an impact in your own life, it's your duty to then share that with other people. And here's the trick. When you move from I've done this for myself to I've done this for 1, 2, or 3 people, the game just completely changes, and it gets really, really fun. I joke because I say, I just help my friends. We bring in people as clients for like 2 or 3 weeks. And then after 3 weeks, they become friends. And I just get to help my friends write books, blow up their businesses, turn those into online courses, and have a really good time growing together. Because now that's my big focus, is how can I help more people get the results that I got, right? And so the fastest way you could overcome imposter syndrome, if you're running into it, is just lean into your own story. And then that's 3, is just share content that's all about your story. Because nobody can take that away from you. Like, when I talk about the Triumphant Life story, and I talk about my 30-day challenge, and I talk about me writing a book, and I talk about being paralyzed and in the hospital and putting on 60 pounds and getting extremely depressed and chasing that depression with whiskey and battling addiction, I can look you sincerely in the face and know those emotions, okay? I've had to overcome that, and there's been long battles internally that I've had with myself as an entrepreneur, battling imposter syndrome and starting a new business from scratch and starting your life over. I have a little bit of real world examples and experience there. Does it make sense? So you can't take that away from me, and they can't take that away from you, which is why I believe that you need to share your heart and your soul. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? So the third thing of overcoming imposter syndrome is all your content should and could become just the story of how you got the results or the goal or solved the problem. And then when you do that for yourself, you solve it for one other person, and then you just get to brag about them. Go through my social feed right now and tell me you don't see me bragging about all of our people. It's the coolest thing ever. Hey, here's how Crystal tripled her business with a book. Here's my friend Nate, right? And I just love it because I just get to brag about my friends. But I found, do you know why I do that? Because oftentimes I'm afraid to share my own content. Nikki T, yeah, I still have it every freaking day. It's so true. So I got a funny story for you. So we had my own conference here, my mastermind in January, okay? We do them every year here in San Diego. We have one coming up in July in Phoenix. If you want information about that, it's only $100 to come. But anyway, it's my event. They're my clients. And I'm getting ready to give my speech. And sure as heck, guess who's nervous as crap? me. Imposter syndrome in front of people that had flown in to see me talk. And I was like, they're micing me up and I'm getting a little jittery and stuff. And we still have it. And I've just found there's cool ways to play with that. And I'm not trying to joke if you have ran into that. What I'm trying to let you know is we can have fun with things and we can lean into things. I've just found the way to overcome stuff is to acknowledge it and know the game that you're playing. Like for me, I know I get nervous. I know I have imposter syndrome. I know I compare myself to Grant Cardone or Gary Vee. I know that. I know that every day. Maybe you run into that. So I found, okay, let's eliminate that. Let's stay on my goals too. What results have I gotten for myself? Let's lean into this because you can't take that away from me and they can't take that away from you. What results have you gotten for clients underneath that? And just share that. And then that's my content. Is instead of trying to recreate the wheel, I just look at what our clients are doing and I just share really cool stuff and things that they learned in my program, right? And it makes me better. So guys, this has just been a quick little hello Facebook Live, let you know 3 ways to overcome imposter syndrome. If there's anything I can do to help you, let me know. Hit me in the comments or hit me in the DMs. And then, hey, speaking of which, speaking of clients, that's what we do now. I help people share their stories. Because like I said, watch how I tied this in. I wrote a book. This book landed me 350 sales and was my very first $1 million sales funnel. It was awesome. I fell in love with the book writing process. And when I did that, my friend Nate reached out. He's like, dude, how'd you write a book? And I was like, dude, let me show you how to write a book. And so Nate wrote 2 books. And then Nate used these to blow up his business and get on a bunch of podcasts and make some money and lock down some brand deals. And then my girl Crystal showed up. I was like, yo, Nikki T, how do I do that? And I was like, cool, let me help you. And Crystal wrote a book and she tripled her business. I got one more. Nope. Okay, that's all I got in here right now. So that's what I do now. So if you'd love any information about that, guys, there's a link in my bio. You can go watch the masterclass I have. You can get this beautiful case study there too. Or you could hit me in a DM and say, yo, Nikki T, I'd love to chat with you one-on-one about sharing my story. I want to help you overcome your imposter syndrome. And I want to help you write that in a book and then turn that book into a beautiful online e-course and then use that book and that e-course to go change the world. You in, I'm in, if you're in, but we have to both get out of our way and overcome our imposter syndrome because somebody out there needs your help. Somebody out there is struggling with the problem that you know how to solve. And this is why I'm extremely passionate about this, because sometimes I found when I don't want to share and I go do share, that's when somebody comes back and goes, dude, I really needed to hear that today. Maybe that was you needing to hear this, but think about this. Let's move from me to you, from you to them. Who's out there that needs to hear your message? Could you, whenever you finish this live or this replay, stop what you're doing and actually go live and share with them something that worked for you? Speak from the heart and touch them. Somebody needs your help. All right, guys, hope you learned something, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.